Alrighty, hope everyone's having a good day today. We are back with our weekly podcast. We are the Football Tailgaters. We go over hot topics in the NFL. And with me today, I have Yams, our Jets fan, Andy, our unbiased NFL fan, and myself, Aaron, a Cowboys fan. Today, we're going to have some multiple topics about the New England Patriots with Bill Belichick. We got a little bit about Josh Allen, Bryce Young, and DeAndre Hopkins rumors. Also about Baker Mayfield. So let's start with Baker Mayfield here. And we got him now on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he is, quote unquote, fighting for the starting job, even though, you know, they're not might be much competition, because in that Tampa Bay roster, you got Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask, and John Wolford. So not much competition here. And it's even been kind of hinted to it. So I'm going to ask you guys this question. Do you think Baker Mayfield will make a comeback with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I don't think so. Last season, we all saw how the GOAT, Tom Brady, was struggling completely with that Tampa Bay offense. As with the coach that is currently still there, Todd Bowles, I don't see any upside still with this team.
I agree. Tom Brady barely pulled it off last year, and what Baker Mayfield went from Panthers to the Rams and had like one miracle game based on a sucky team. Was it Las Vegas Raiders? It was pure luck.
Didn't he? So when he was with the Panthers, it was Sam Darnold who got injured, and then he took over, right? Is that how it worked out? Because I kind of vaguely remember the competition between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold.
No. No, he got the starting job.
Baker?
Yes, Baker did.
Yeah, Baker started,
and
then Sam Darnold was injured, so it wasn't like he beat out Sam Darnold or whatever you want to call it. You know how things happen? They just put Sam Darnold on the sidelines because he was still injured, so they went with Baker Mayfield. And then Sam Darnold came back in. Right.
Okay, yeah. So you can kind of see there already. If he's kind of struggling to have this position between both of them, even sometimes you can debate on whether who should start, Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. You put him with this Tampa Bay roster, it's not going to be much of a difference. He's not going to have any crazy comeback because it is a solid team. It's not a horrible team. They got a good offense, right? But again, like you said, Andy, earlier, it's pretty much the coaching staff here that is going to set them back. And I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should maybe think about moving on with getting rid of Todd Bowles. So I don't see anything special going on with Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay. They'll probably just go, 7-10 or something like that. It'll just be average. You didn't do crazy last season either. And it's like he didn't play all of his games, so
it's tough for him. Yeah, no, there's no expectations, I think, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. I mean, Baker Mayfield is your quarterback. If Tom Brady couldn't get you to a higher level, and he's the GOAT, even though they did go to the playoffs, but that's because they had a sorry division in there. I don't see anything like in the upside here. So there's no expectations. If they do win some games, maybe they get another opportunity, but I don't see that happening at this moment.
He may have some glimpses of hope, but they still have probably one of the worst head coaches in the league in the zombie Todd Bowles.
No, and in that division, I mean, there's some big changes in that division. You have New Orleans Saints with Derek Carr. That's a major change there in quarterback. And then you have Bryce Young going to the Panthers. So that's a rookie, and it might work out. And then you have the Atlanta Falcons, which they are just keep adding on big-time weaponry. Now the quarterback, it's going to be Ritter, so I don't know what to think about that. But they got the biggest running back star in the NFL draft. They still have what we all think in fantasy-wise, that Kyle Pitts, a tight end, is going to be a major star. So, and then they have Drake London, I believe, as well. So that's like 3 major stars from college, and they're all like young players. So that team should also have another level up. So I don't see much about the Tampa Bay
I don't
Buccaneers.
know, because what we saw last season with them, they were all being misused like up the wazoo. It was awful. Kyle Pitts was a complete bust. Drake London was a roller coaster. That whole offense was just sometimes egregious and sometimes solid.
Can we blame the quarterback, though, on Mariota for a bit, though?
Well, I mean, you can. It's part of maybe the blame, but I think that it was just kind of like a shaky team. They were still trying to figure out their identity. So maybe with Robinson here, Bijan Robinson, a clear star here. You got a running game, which they were kind of mostly dependent on last season. You got now a clear star that can propel you forward and find some kind of, again, identity with this team. And they'll be a fun team to watch when they're running it. So if they do good with that, they'll be a good team. But first, they got to figure out how to use their weapons, right? They haven't used it properly. And we got to see Kyle Pitts do something great here. So this is his chance to have a big jump.
They should at least have one more better game, like one more win at least. They just keep adding.
It's a weak division. It's one of the weakest divisions in the whole league. Yeah. So it's going back to Tampa Bay. It's even for them being in the weakest, one of the weakest divisions. I still don't see them being in the top two because I think I can see the Saints and the Panthers competing for 1 and 2, and then right after the Falcons. Maybe competing for 2 and 3, then you got the Buccaneers last place. I mean, it's just clear as day. Unless the NFL works in weird ways, and maybe we could see Tampa Bay in some weird scenario where they could be fighting for a number 2 spot, maybe a wild card. But that's the best case scenario. I think most likely they'll be dead last or in a weird spot. What are they going to do with their roster? Are they going to blow it up? Are they going to try to get draft capital here? What are they going to do with their coaching staff? They got a lot of questions over there, and it's a weird time because you got abandoned by Tom Brady because it was just an awful time over there, and he was like, I'm just going to retire because this is not working out. This was so bad. It sucks. It sucks for them, so they got to figure something out. They got to go one way or the other, and they're kind of sitting in the middle, and it's uncomfortable for them.
Taylor Heineke is their backup quarterback, so if Desmond Ridder doesn't work out, Taylor Heineke can take the reins. He didn't do an awful job with the Washington Commanders. Mm-hmm. And I mean, with the Washington Commanders,
he went to the playoffs.
Yeah, he went to the playoffs, and you have the Cowboys there in that division. You have the Eagles in that division, so it's a hard division. So in this division, as you're saying that there's not a top winner there that we all know who's going to be. Mm-hmm. It's up for grabs, that division. So I don't see the Atlanta Falcons as being dead last here. I actually do see them competing for the first place. I would see New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons because with Bryce Young, as he's a complete rookie there, and at least Desmond Ridder, this is his second year, and he has seen some NFL experience a little bit. So for the time being, I do have the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons competing for first place. I mean,
that's not a crazy thing to think about. It's kind of just a battle between those three, and I think we all know that the likeliness of the fourth place here in this division will be the Buccaneers, and I think that's what we're coming down to here, right?
Yes, I agree with you.
All right, let's talk about DeAndre Hopkins now. There's still no team he's on. There's kind of been rumors of the top 3 teams which I think it was Houston, Bills, and Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken. But there's been more talk about Houston here. So there's been, in his DeAndre Hopkins Instagram story, he's been kind of teasing of him being around in Houston. His family is in Houston. I don't know. I think he owns property in Houston. I'm not sure about that, but there's clearly a special place in his heart for Houston here. And we may see him possibly go to Houston. So I'm asking you guys what are your guys' thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins possibly signing with Houston here?
Unfortunately, there's a report from NFL Rumors, their Twitter account. They're sort of reliable, and they have announced that the Cowboys, the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Giants are all out on DeAndre Hopkins. So the teams are minimizing here for him. And like you said, he knows Houston. His family lives there. And playing for that new regime with the new head coaching staff, another GM that was there, a new GM that's there for him. It's a new complete overhaul of a new team. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
It could be interesting that if he does return, they have C.J. Stroud. He's a young quarterback that would benefit from having a veteran like D-Hop. And the young receivers that they have on the team is pretty interesting. There's a couple in there, and then they have Dalton Schultz as their tight end. So I think this could work.
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. And they have the advantage because his family does live there, so that could maybe take a big part in his decision. He is about to turn 31, I think in a couple days or something. I know it's in June. So it's really where his mentality is at, and I could totally see him signing with Houston. I think it's not a terrible idea. It's up to him. At this point, we see stars all the time wanting to sign in certain places because of their personal reasons. Sometimes it's not always about championships, right? Now, they could definitely be competing for maybe a playoff spot by next season with him on that roster. Also, it seems like money may not be that big of a factor, right? Because you got other teams that can give him more money, right? So it's kind of what it's really up to him when it comes to this, and it seems like money's not number one factor here. Obviously, I don't know, it's championships always in their minds whenever they're thinking about playing, right? That's always the goal. But
yeah, that's what's sad about it, that he's going to go to a team that is not at all close to a championship. And you said he's 31, so he's getting up there in age. There's been people saying that his speed has calmed down. I still see him as a big threat in the red zone. That's just my personal opinion. But I'm just really surprised how a talent of that caliber is not being looked at by other teams. I mean, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Giants, the Cowboys, those are teams that need some help in the wide receiver, and they're just dismissing DeAndre Hopkins. I would never have thought to say that in this upcoming season, to say that, you know what, we're good. I'm all right without having DeAndre Hopkins.
I don't think the team is that bad. So depending how CJ Stroud plays, they have Dameon Pierce, which
this is the AFC. That's what I'm talking about. Even though it's not bad, they're not going to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, you have the Bills, you have the Cincinnati Bengals, you have the Chargers, you have the Bills, you have so many teams, the Ravens, and the Jets are getting up there now with Aaron Rodgers. We don't know what's up with that. So there's so many teams. So Houston has no chance. I would bet all of my money, honestly, that the Houston Texans are not going to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, careful, because you don't know what happened. Did you see what happened to the Miami Heat?
Well, nobody's. Well, they were the 8th seed. I mean,
well, look, if you talk about the AFC South, that whole division, it's shaky, right? So they have a chance to even take it. If you look at their roster, it's not bad. It's like they have Dameon Pierce, Robert Woods. I'm not so impressed with, but Nico Collins was kind of impressive to me last year. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember him being really good. And then Dalton Schultz has always been an impressive tight end. I don't know. It might be with the Cowboys because the tight end Cowboys are pretty good. It looks promising.
You also can't forget about the defense too. They got
True.
Will Anderson and what's his name? That cornerback.
Stingley. Yeah. Correct. Right. They have.
He's really good.
Right. They got. Will Anderson.
I'm with you guys. It's a.
I'm not saying they're gonna be immediately a threat, right? But this is a step towards the right direction here. Now, it also depends on what he wants on his contract. Does he want a year? Does he want 2 years? It'll be interesting because I don't think it'll make sense. Why would he want 1 year in Houston and then he's gone, right?
I think we're missing something here because nobody traded for him. 1, 2. He's actually told as an announcement to all teams that he is flexible with his money, with his signing. So he's basically telling everybody, just call me and I'll work something out with you. And 3, basically he just a player that just wants out of that organization, of that Cardinals organization, and yes. We don't know what situations happen there between him and the quarterback or that organization, even though for me, it seems like he's a straight shooter and no problem type of player, but he wants out. So I don't know. There's 3 factors there.
If he wants out, there's a big problem with the Cardinals. But there's this article that I have pulled up here, Yahoo Sports. It says that 2 league executives told the Athletic's Tim Graham that Hopkins apparently wants a deal similar to what the Ravens gave to Odell Beckham, who signed a 1-year deal worth $15 million guaranteed with another $3 million in incentives. Now, if he wants that,
yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot, and that's somewhere where it would make sense with the Chiefs, but the Chiefs don't have that kind of money,
right?
So he's gonna have to take some kind of discount. I don't know. It's really strange. Where would he go? That's just a 1-year deal. It has to be a Super Bowl ready team.
Well, yeah, but you know what? I'd rather pay that money to DeAndre than Odell.
Yeah,
100%.
Me too, 100%. But
if you hear that, wouldn't you go after him? If you hear that, if you're someone like the Cowboys, right, who do have that kind of cap space, which is, this is my bias getting in the way, but like if you hear that and if it is true, why are you not chasing after him when you just had a heavy consideration into signing Beckham? What kind of it's so stupid.
There's something that we're missing. That's what I was telling you. There's something that we're missing from this player that we don't know. Maybe his injury is more it's more hardcore than we know that as fans. We don't know. Maybe his legs are just giving up. I'm really surprised that the Ravens signed Odell Beckham for that much money. Honestly, that guy hasn't been playing a whole season for such a long time ago. But the Ravens has been doing suspect moves, so I don't even trust that organization for the moment. So I don't know what's going on with DeAndre Hopkins. There's something there that we just don't know.
So he had a knee MCL tear grade 3, and that was December 13, 2021. And then December 29, 2022, he had a knee strain, which just flared up.
It seems like it's his knee, the issue.
But it just flared up. It's not like he didn't miss. Well, it was just December 29 too, so I don't know.
There's definitely something, like you said, Andy. There's something that we don't know. There's probably some things that are not true and some things that are.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we just won't know. But I do know that he is most likely going to sign anytime soon, probably by the end of this month or the beginning of next month. But it's going to be really soon. It's probably around the corner, right? It could happen right now. Who knows?
I'm thinking towards, again, with these players that are just waiting on the sidelines, like Zeke is another player. I just think they're just waiting in training camp. Somebody might pick them up.
I think clear as day, though, number one free agent is DeAndre Hopkins. If it's taken him a while, it's going to take even longer for the other players to get signed, especially if they're asking for a lot of money.
I don't know, man. I mean, you're a Cowboys fan, and the Cowboys, they go for the cheaper player that you think you can get some talent.
Well, they're trying to find value.
Yeah.
They're trying to find value as cheap as possible, I think.
And a lot of teams do that.
It's not a terrible idea, right? But when you're teetering on basically almost pushing through a good playoff run, right? But then you have really silly mistakes that you go through, whether it's the game plan or players making dumb mistakes or bad clock management, Mike McCarthy, stuff like that. Don't want to get too much into that, but there's just a lot of problems with teams like the Cowboys where I don't know, it doesn't surprise me that they are not interested in them. So it is what it is. But I wouldn't rule out the Chiefs yet or even the Bills, but we don't know. I mean, it could all be a facade. Who knows? We won't know until he actually signs this, probably at the end of the month.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Bryce Young, guys, we're going to talk about him now and how he's doing. So apparently Bryce Young is impressing the Panthers coaching staff. So he's showing complete command in his practice so far. And I'm going to ask you guys this. What kind of year will Bryce Young have with the Panthers?
Well, I think he's a pretty smart kid, and I think quarterbacks need to be smart and have that level of understanding to be a quarterback, because it's a lot to learn and a lot to process and a lot of positions you need to know and where your receivers are at. But, I mean, he was with Alabama, with Saban. He's never won a national championship, I don't believe in. I know he was projected to be number 1, but I think he didn't even also attend the combine. So he won the Heisman, but so did Baker.
And for me, I have zero expectations. Another team in that particular division, the NFC South, of the I don't have any expectations for the Carolina Panthers. They have a running back, Miles Sanders. It's a good running back. They have as the second running back Chuba Hubbard, a decent, okay, not bad. You have Adam Thielen, he's declining. You have DJ Shark, he's been moving around from team to team, from the Jacksonville Jaguars to Detroit Lions and now to the Panthers. And you have Terrence Marshall Jr. as another wide receiver, and then Hayden Hurst, another tight end player that I think is going on decline. I don't see this team too much doing so much in the NFL this year. So the defense is decent, but not much for this particular team.
It's tough to kind of gauge it, especially when it's only practice, because I don't know if you guys saw this, but Will Levis was the complete opposite. There's reports saying that he's not doing good at all in practice, and then you got people vouching for him saying, hey, a transition from college to NFL can be tough, right? So it takes some time to get used to. And you can talk all this talk, right? But you won't see the results until you actually start seeing this guy producing in his first NFL game. And he's going to start, and he might do well, he might not. Who knows? So with the roster around him, I think is what really matters, and the coaching staff putting him in a good position. So as long as they're conservative, I think as they know what they're dealing with as a kind of player that Bryce Young is, right? He's undersized. So he's going to roll out of the pocket a lot. They're going to have to do some crazy plays with them. He's probably not going to sit in the pocket a lot, right? Because he's just going to see a bunch of Panthers helmets. So it's going to be kind of crazy here. It's going to be interesting to really see this guy work in the NFL, especially with his size, because it's very rare to see this kind of quarterback out there like that. You have players like Kyler Murray, right? It's not the end of the world because he's really short, right? For a quarterback, he'll be fine, I think. I don't think he'll be horrible. He's got talent. He's got natural talent. Again, he was the safest pick, it seemed like, this draft. So
I'm just nervous for Frank Reich. This is a type of quarterback that I haven't seen too much of success with. So he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he had Carson Wentz and Nick Foles as their quarterback. He went to the Colts. He had Phillip Rivers, and he didn't have success with Carson Wentz there again. Or with Matt Ryan, I believe. Or was that not with Frank Reich? No, I don't think it was with Frank Reich. No, I'm sorry. So this is Bryce Young is not the type of quarterback that Frank Reich actually has used. So it's a new type of quarterback for him. So we'll see.
Yeah, and
he actually has a quarterback now. That's the thing.
We don't know.
It was a wash. No, it was a wash. Phillip Rivers, first of all. Carson Wentz, where is he at? I don't know. Nick Foles, he's like this is the
they
first
did win
time
the
where
Super
I think,
Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, and where is he at right now?
Yeah, but I'm just saying the type of.
What does that
coach
say about Frank
he
Reich?
is. What do you mean? Well, that means that he did a really good job with him.
Well, that was
there you
Doug
go.
Peterson.
So why don't you have faith with him with Bryce Young, who is more likely to have bigger potential to pass someone like a wash Phillip Rivers and like a teamless Carson Wentz?
Well, Phillip Rivers, he did take to the playoffs. He did have some success with Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, but he wasn't in his prime at that point.
No,
so
but
there you go. There's another example.
It's like a pocket quarterback. Well, what I'm seeing with Frank Reich is the type of quarterback that he has some success with is those pocket big guys quarterback that just can sling it.
He's really impressed with Bryce Young. That's the thing.
And Well, I mean, is it really?
He said it himself.
Is it really his decision though? I mean, that's the GM. I mean, what is he going to be like saying like, no, I don't want this
and also
kid?
he has to say
Right,
he's
but,
impressed. It was his pick. It's the number one pick. You can't just be like, you know
But
what?
it's not
He's
his
improving.
choice. It's not his decision though. It's the
How
GM's.
do you know? How do you know?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Usually,
Well,
it's the GM's decision. That's most of the time.
I'm thinking that I don't think I trust Frank Reich at all. He was only had one time of success, and in my opinion, that's when he won the Super Bowl, and he wasn't the head coach. It was Doug Peterson,
right.
And then he goes on to be a head coach, and he got Phillip Rivers, which is a top tier quarterback, and he had some success. But he was already out the door. And after that, it's been downhill. And I don't think it's going to be uphill anytime soon because I don't have any confidence in Frank Wright being a quarterback.
On the point,
I think Frank Wright even had Andrew Luck for just like his final season, if I'm not mistaken either. So that's the type of quarterback that he works with. And now you have a rookie, short, movable, like moves with his legs type of quarterback. And I don't know. It's just it's
a fresh breath of air for Frank Wright, I think. Right, you're not dealing with. Okay, you already know he can't deal with pocket passes that well, right? Even though that was his thing, right? This is something different that we're gonna see. So at the end of the day, it's gonna be some results that you're most likely probably gonna get wrong, right? Because it's a new environment for him, and if he can work it out. Coaches they're not always a one-trick pony. They're not always gonna work just a specific way. Not always, right? if he's a good coach, he can adapt to these situations. So we'll find out if Frank Reich is really the coach. It seems like the Panthers are making him out to be, if you get what I'm trying to say here, right?
I think it's a wait and see situation.
And
Well,
also,
of
I feel
course,
I feel like it's the opposite. If they report that he's doing great, they normally do bad in the season, and then they report if they do awful, they always
Here's
do
the thing
good.
about that, though. You have reporters there with cameras. You literally have physical evidence that Will Levis was doing bad right now in practice, right? So, of course, they're going to have cameras on these guys. What are you going to what are they going to say about Will Levis? Yeah, he was doing amazing. Yeah, he's impressed us with his mental and physicality as well. Like, he's a good mental space. He's a great quarterback. No, of course not. Look, there's bad talk about Will Levis right now because there's video evidence that he's doing bad, which means, like, obviously people are going to be recording these players in their practices. So
But
why would he lie
think-
about that?
Yeah, no, but
If Bryce Young was doing what Will Levis is doing right now, I don't think Frank Wright would be saying these kinds of things about him.
at the end of the day, I'm going to use Allen Iverson's words. It's just practice.
Okay, well, that's what Aaron Rodgers says right now. Like, I didn't go to off-season practice and I won MVP. So at the end of the day, it's just natural talent compared to something like more systemic talent here, where if you're in the right place, you'll do good, right?
Right. Well,
It just really depends on the player,
Yeah.
and he's a rookie. We won't know until he starts playing in the regular season.
and usually rookies have a hard time in their first NFL season.
Let's talk about the Madden Curse, guys. So this is a big deal because it seems like, well, I mean, to some it may be a big deal. To some it might be a silly idea, right? You got rumors that Josh Allen will be on the cover of Madden, this coming Madden 2024, I think it is. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk about the Madden Curse and how, like, the players on the cover have something bad happen to them that season. What do you guys think with this whole Madden Curse here? Will it hurt the Bills and Josh Allen?
I mean, some people do believe in the curse, and I think there was like Antonio Brown, Peyton Manning. Who was it? Was it Ben? Was it Ben? Was it Lamar? But anyways, those are the ones that I stand out that I can remember. And sometimes it hits, and sometimes it doesn't. I think it's what the universe manifests.
I actually was a big believer on that Madden Curse because it was hitting one by one. That every time you had a player like Odell Beckham, he got injured. I believe the Seattle Seahawks, when they put Sherman in the cover, they also had that problem when they went to the Super Bowl. We saw Gronkowski on Madden 17, and the Patriots, I believe. I don't think they actually were even legit in that season. But then you had, I believe you had Tom Brady kind of break the curse that he was in the cover, but then did have some success with the Buccaneers. They did go to the playoffs. I know it was after he won the Super Bowl, but I mean that's no problem. And then you had Patrick Mahomes, I believe in 2020. We're in 2023. And he still, I mean, he just won the Super Bowl.
Didn't he have a bum ankle, though, that he had to, like...
No, he won the Super Bowl that year, and he got a Super Bowl MVP.
But, I mean, it's not a thing that says you won't get injured. He did get injured, so it still hit. Does it have to be a car crash of an injury, or just
something's going to happen to you type of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're just done for type of Madden Curse, or... you have to play with a bum ankle type of injury.
I don't know.
No, it seems like the Madden Curse, it's always like they're really affected by it one way, like on the field or off the field type of thing.
I'm questioning why would you pick Josh Allen to be on the cover if
after he tied for the league leading interception.
Exactly.
With Dak Prescott.
That's more of my question. Why is he on the cover?
Who else?
Travis Kelce. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, why not? Travis Kelce is a big time player and a tight end, and he's major part of the success of that Super Bowl. Have the Super Bowl winning team in there. I would definitely put Travis Kelce. That's a good one.
Maybe he doesn't want part of the curse.
You know what? Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts.
That's very true. Too soon?
Yeah.
No,
I really don't think so because he's been pretty good.
Remember that running back from the Cleveland Browns that just had that one tremendous, I believe his name was
he got
Hill.
the cover.
Yeah, Peyton Hill or something like that. And he got the
it was
cover.
Peyton Hills.
And he
Hillis.
was just a 1 year and then done. Everybody was like, whoa, this guy's unbelievable. But then curse happened to him.
So I got like a list here from. So there was players like Donovan McNabb were on there, Vince Young, Brett Favre, Drew Brees, and there's Peyton Hillis, Calvin Johnson, Adrian Peterson, Richard Sherman. It's kind of rare to see a defensive player on there, so that was a big deal.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was the year that they lost the Super Bowl with that with that boneheaded call that with the interception in the end.
I don't know, actually. It says here that he ended up putting a great season following his appearance on the cover. He injured his elbow, but it ended up healing in time for the following season. Yeah, and then eventually got released by the Seahawks, and he ended up going with the 49ers. Yeah, I don't know. It's just... it's not the worst to put him on there. Travis Kelce could have been another good one, but I was trying to think, I don't know, maybe like a running back, Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry didn't do amazing this past season. I think Derrick Henry should have been on the cover.
Check this out. February 1st, 2015. That was the year of the Seahawks when they lost against the Patriots. Madden Curse.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I believe in curses. But look, Josh Allen, the way he's been playing, he's been throwing his body around carelessly. So I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised if something were to happen to Josh Allen because he hasn't been taking care of his body. He just throws his body.
Was there any kind of coaching changes going on in Buffalo? No, right?
Just the coordinator, but that's...
The offensive coordinator.
Oh,
That's a pretty big one. And let me also...
That is true.
Defend Josh Allen here that he was injured. He had an elbow situation, so he couldn't really throw it as good as he usually throws. So I am going to defend him there.
Dude, Russell Wilson was the same thing. Sorry.
Why are we talking about Russell Wilson?
Because he was injured, and then he still ended up playing really bad. So
that's a nice segue to the next one, I guess. Don't we talk about him today again?
No, let's talk about the Patriots here. You got Bill Belichick still going strong with the Patriots, but there is, some doubts here and there with this team. So let's talk about the Patriots and their playoff season, if it will even happen. Do you think the Patriots will miss the playoffs this coming season?
I do. And the reason is I do not see too much upgrades for the Patriots in this offseason. They still have the same type of quarterback. And then they did upgrade their coordinators to help the kid out. I mean, the kid, Mac Jones, needed to get some help, and he went outside of the Patriots, and then the Bill Belichick didn't like that. It was just there's some dysfunction going on with Bill Belichick. So I don't see too much from this team. And then the Jets got Aaron Rodgers, and then you still have the Buffalo Bills there, and then the Miami Dolphins have a great coach, in my opinion. It's all based on the quarterback if he can stay healthy. So I believe the Patriots maybe this year is going to be the last place of that division.
It depends how you see it. You can see it in a more positive way. If the Patriots were able to achieve a 7-6 record with Patricia and Joe Judge.
What do you mean 7-6?
Well, what was the record?
Well, that's 13 games.
Well, I'm bad at math. So what's the?
Well, I don't have it in front of me. What the record was.
You came out and corrected me. So
wait.
Well, yeah, well, because you said 7 wins, 6 losses.
Well, like I said, I'm
13
really
wins.
bad at math.
Now. It's not math. It's just a record.
Wait, what?
Well, I'm doing now. You're saying there's 13 games. So did I mess up?
Well, yeah, there's 17 games. Well, it's because Yams is saying.
Well, are we talking about last year's record?
Yeah, last year's Patriots record.
They went 8-9.
There you go.
Okay, 8-9. Let me start my video. If they went 8-9 with Patricia and Joe Judge, it depends how you see it. You could look at it a very positive way that they were able to achieve an 8-9 with those two bozos.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I can see your point there. And now with an upgrade on the coordinator, it might help. But this is still Bill Belichick's show. And since Brady left, we saw a Cam Newton experiment that didn't go well.
Oh my god!
They got Mac Jones, and that hasn't gone well. And we saw crazy plays that we've never seen the Patriots try to do, and it's just a debacle. They look like an ordinary NFL team that's just struggling, and we're not used to seeing the Patriots that way. So they might be in 4th place this season.
They were really boring. But wasn't last season the one where they had that amazing game where they only ran the ball because it was snowing, and that was against the Bills?
That was 2 seasons ago. That wasn't last season.
That was 2 seasons. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that was amazing.
That was crazy. So they're capable of doing some really good stuff when it does work, right? So again, they finished third place last season, right? They were in front of the Jets, which I don't think is going to happen this coming season. So they got the Bills. They were sitting at 13-3, and then it was Dolphins 9-8, and then Patriots 8-9, and then you got the Jets that were 7-10. So we might see the Patriots here, because if we go by the odds here, so according to Sports Illustrated, it says that with their odds here, with the AFC East winner, they're in last place. They're likely to just be dead last in fourth place. And then the Buffalo Bills are leading it, right? And then right behind them, it's the Jets and then the Dolphins. I could totally see that working out just like that, because the Dolphins are still a good team. But I just don't know with Tua, with all of his injuries and stuff like that. But when we're talking about the Patriots, they're going to be dead last. They're going to miss the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of questions about Bill Belichick. Is he going to go to another team? Is he done with this whole coaching thing? Is he tired of it? Who knows, right? That's something we're going to talk about a little bit later. But they're missing the playoffs. It's too late. It's over. I mean, there's good things. They have an end, and that's what it is. The Patriots' whole thing about being, a great team, sometimes unbeatable. You got those years with Tom Brady and stuff like that, but it's over. Good things come to an end, and that's what it is for the Patriots. Yeah. They got to move on.
It was an amazing 20 years for them. Almost 20 years for
Disgusting.
them. Disgusting. It was
too
amazing.
Much. It was too much.
It was amazing, and it's going to go in and sports history. Like, I don't know, it might be the best franchise in sports history. I don't know. That's maybe, and NFL standards, probably, I would even say that.
Was it 5 or 6 Super Bowls? It was 5, right?
No, they won 6. They won six, and then Tom Brady won his 7. Yeah, he won his 7th with the
Buccaneers.
With the Buccaneers. His goal was to beat Michael Jordan's record, and he did.
Right, different sports, but
yeah,
it's gonna be maybe a 7-10 season for the Patriots. I can see that pretty safe.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Hey, but good times for the Jets here, possibly taking over the number 1 spot, possibly. Hopefully. Depending if Josh Allen is again playing with an injured elbow and throws a lot of interceptions again, or this coordinator just doesn't work out.
And Tua to
get 20 concussions in the time span of like 3 weeks.
Guy,
I feel bad for that guy. That guy should really consider retiring or something. But that's something else. Let's talk about Bill Belichick, and if that's his last season, if this season, is it gonna be Bill Belichick's last season? This season coming up. Is he going to retire?
So Belichick reminds me of kind of like the NFL Popovich of, Pop from the NBA. They're both tied to a superstar that kind of made it happen and made him a genius head coach. Not that they're not, they are. And, later on, Kawhi came and brought life to Popovich again. And I think that's what Belichick needs. He needs to find his next Tom Brady. I don't say his retirement is soon. I think I give him about 3 more years before he retires.
It really depends, in my opinion, how this season plays out. If it turns out that they're in 4th place, I think it might be like a little push for him to say, like, you know what, that's enough for me. I'm not going to try to rebuild another team. How many years does it take? Quarterback is the most important position in all sports, in my opinion. So if it doesn't play out this season well for the Patriots, I think it might be his last one.
He's got one of the biggest poker faces in the game. We don't know what his next move is going to be. Will he be a coordinator after this? Is he going to, once he's done with the Patriots, is he going to be like, I don't want this big of a role. I've been doing this for a long time. I want to take a step back and take some kind of coordinator role. Who knows? No, that might be on the table, maybe not. I don't think it's out of the question. Now, there's also the idea of maybe he's just sick and tired of just coaching for so long, and there is such thing as just fatigue over having to do the same thing over and over and over. And I mean, he knows he's gotten to this point to where hey, this team is not what it used to be, in the last 2 decades, basically. It's not crazy to think about him just being completely done.
I don't see it. I don't see him being completely done. Now, if you guys are saying that they're gonna have a bad season, why not put yourself in his shoes? Why not just play horribly, tank the season, and you're all in for Caleb Williams?
Does he have that kind of patience though to develop another team for the next 5 years?
He's never had that patience. He's always. I'm sure he's always been rude and mean and dismissive, and
He started with the Patriots with Drew Bledsoe. That's not a bad quarterback. And then it just happened to be a whole bunch of luck, in my opinion, that they did get Tom Brady, and it turned out to be the best quarterback ever.
Why not go ahead and just try it again with Caleb? I mean,
what is he thinking right now with this whole Mac Jones situation? You know, this is the first time where I think this is probably the worst quarterback he's had in his career with the Patriots, obviously.
Well, he's the main honcho for the Patriots. He's like the GM, the head coach, and he does all the moves. So what people have critiqued on him is that he doesn't have these amazing drafts. He's really good at picking players from other teams, free agency, and just like we were saying before, like finding the best value. He has missed sometimes with like Chad Johnson, Albert Hainsworth. There's some players that he has gotten that are big names, but it just didn't work out. So, but most of all, he has been doing really good job with free agency and trading. So we'll see. I don't see this big of an upgrade this season for this team.
Oh, definitely not. No, they're in some ways they're kind of rebuilding the team, even though they still have some pretty solid players. But I think there's still quite a bit of questions here for this team and to figure something out. So because the division just got, I think, extremely hard for them, right? And it kind of basically just flipped if you think about it, because I'm pretty sure at some point the Bills were dead last in that division, and the Patriots were dominating, always first place. And then there was times where the Jets were on top, and then
very little
Dolphins
times.
Were kind of very little times, but it was there. It was there.
It was mostly the Patriots. That was the Patriots division, and everybody was criticizing them. It was like, well, yeah, they're always on top because they're in that division.
Yeah, now look at them.
Look at them. Yeah, just takes a lot of time.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to even think about that now they're the worst team in that division after being considered the best team in that division for the last 2 decades. It's just crazy. But again, this is what I say. Good things come to an end. So it's over for them. It's over. As for Bill Belichick, I don't think anyone's going to know what the heck he's going to do until he opens his mouth, right? And even then, he speaks in a very weird manner to where, like, he's just, he says things or whatever. It's like, I don't know, I'll think about it, or I don't know. It's just very vague about these things because he just hates the media. So it sucks, and I think we just kind of have to see if he has the patience to rebuild this team again, or if he's out and he goes somewhere else. What if he goes somewhere else, I definitely don't see him once he retires going into the media.
So TikTok there.
What if he goes into like a GM position, right? Could you see that happening?
I can see him as a consultant. I can see him as a consultant like Bill Parcells was for the Miami Dolphins. That didn't work out. Also, what was his name? The head coach for the Giants that won the Super Bowls, Coughlin. He went as a consultant for the Jaguars, and that didn't work out. So being a consultant, I don't think it works out. But that's what happens with these older coaches.
So just being a pure GM, no head coaching, because he is a GM now, and he's not recruiting the best, right? Just free agents, according to Andy, right?
It's a little frustrating in the draft, how he drafts.
Right. No, I think once he's done, he's done.
Yeah,
I don't
so
think
too.
he's moving to any kind of role.
I think so too.
He's
maybe a
been with the
broadcasting role.
Patriots.
Maybe a broadcasting television
gosh,
role.
imagine that voice.
I definitely don't
thank
see him.
you.
I definitely don't see him on doing broadcasting. I think
so
at most
dry.
an analyst.
Yeah, but he would have a lot to like. Everybody would
You
listen. Everybody would listen.
No,
He's
he's
just
not
been grunting.
fun. He's
I know
no
he's not
Rex.
fun, but he's a really smart guy. Like I would love to hear like
Is he
his
smart?
explanations.
Is he lovable though? That's the question. Rex Ryan, lovable, great on TV.
I would try him
Belichick,
out.
smart, not great on TV.
You need an outgoing personality to be on TV. That's just how it is. It's as simple as that, right? So it's crazy. He's been 23 years with the Patriots since 2000.
Yeah.
That's almost your life.
And his second year with the Patriots, he won the Super Bowl. Second year. So he is 71. So yeah, maybe I can see him definitely retiring after this season, maybe. But then like also you guys mentioned about the whole Caleb Williams situation. I mean, they're not gonna finish dead last. That's the thing. They're not gonna finish number 1 overall in the draft. So like being dead last place because there's worse teams than the Patriots.
It could happen.
So
They could trade up for it, so.
they could trade up, yeah, or purposefully suck, which I don't think is Bill Belichick's way to do.
He has cheated multiple times, so yeah. He's definitely.
Hey, who knows? Maybe he'll cheat to have a better season.
You gotta cheat to get ahead.
Do you guys have any closing thoughts about this?
I just completely disagree with you. I mean, you have to cheat to get ahead. That's a horrible way to. That's horrible. No, don't listen to her. Anybody who's listening out there, don't listen to her. That's
It's
just
been
horrible.
proven that they've cheated before, so.
Yeah, of course. They've gone punished, so.
Who was behind that? We don't really know exactly who exactly it was. All right, yeah. Okay, cool. So they're going to finish dead last, but good times. I think it's cool to finally see a shakeup in that division. All right, so thank you guys for listening. This is going to be the end of our podcast. We'd love to see you guys giving your opinions on our social media, which is football_tailgaters on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you guys again for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.